Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. In today's episode, we are continuing to look at all the characters from the new mini-comic wave of Marvel Legends. We are looking at the new Daken figure, but we are going to be doing a Which is Better by comparing him to the old Daken figure.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So, like I said in my intro, we are comparing two Daken figures, Daken, Wolverine's kid, Dark Wolverine, as they even say on the package. The first one over here was released back in 2012 in the Marvel Legends Arnim Zola Build-A-Figure wave. The new one is from 2025. It is in the mini-comic wave of Marvel Legends figures. And there's definitely a bit of a difference between these two looking at them. As always, my first round is about the paint and overall appearance of these figures. So we are going to look at the older version first, and just to say it, I actually really like the head on this figure. I've always really liked the head. I think it has a neat little smirk on it. I think the mohawk is done very nicely. I think my biggest problem with it is, again, this kind of weird chest body assembly that Marvel Legends was using at the time, which either makes him look like he's like lurching forward or like, starting to fall backwards. The chest assembly wasn't great, but the paint on the face has held up over time. I think it's a very nice head sculpt, and I like that they included the pulled back cowl. There were two versions of this Marvel Legends figure. There was one that had a mask on it and one that had a masked head with it, and then this one, which didn't have the masked head. I've only ever had the unmasked one, which is actually my preferred one because I like the exposed head. I think that looks very cool, so there's that. But moving down, we have the browns and tans that this Wolverine costume had, that Daken had when he was wearing this costume in the Dark Avengers. The tattoo on his arm looks very cool, very nicely painted. A almost glossy black paint, but still looks very neat going around the arm. And he has the bone claws, which I actually really like. When I'm looking at this character, I actually like the bone claws better than the metal claws. That is something we'll talk about in a little bit. And there is a comic rationale as to why I like the bone claws better. I am wondering if I can actually swap these onto the new one, but we'll talk about it. The belt is unfortunately just kind of free-flowing, which isn't always great for Marvel Legends looks, but otherwise, everything looks pretty cool. The brown is so dark that the black on the boots does get a little lost, but like I said, not a terrible looking figure. The paint work is very nice. It's just the body that's kind of outdated at this point. The new one is definitely on a bit of a stockier body. This is a little larger in style, and the head has some very nice paint work. Still kind of a smirk there, but we see some like dark circles around the eyes, and again, that mohawk looking very cool. And just to say, this is not the same head sculpt. This one, the original one, is definitely a little smaller in size. So it is not the same head sculpt. You can kind of see, just comparing the two faces too, and the way the mohawk is kind of coiffed is, they are two different head sculpts. I did see some people saying that they thought they were the same. But going down, the browns and tans are a little lighter on this figure, which does, I think, set the blacks out a little bit more on the boots. This one does not have the pulled back cowl. It does have a full-on Dark Wolverine head, which looks a little too happy in my opinion, but that is the one of the alternate heads there. We'll talk about the heads later on. This belt is also floating, but it is a little more stuck. It's a little tighter around the figure, so it's not gonna go free flying like the other one here. And the tattoo, since I focused on the other one, it is done up nice. Looks a little less glossy, and also the lines look a little thinner when compared to the older version. And finally, we have the claws, and these claws are done up in silver as if they have the coating of the Muramasa blade on them, which is what he had. They're not adamantium claws. You can see this has 3 claws, this has 2. That is something else that I will be talking about as we go on in this review. But yeah, so there's the paint, the overall appearance. And I do think I am going to give our newer one the points for this round. The lighter browns let the other colors kind of pop a little more. And just, the body construction itself looks a little better. This one is a little thinner. He's got ball-jointed hips. So really, yeah, I'm going to give round 1 to our new mini comic version. The second round is about the articulation of these figures, and we're going to take a quick look at the articulation of this one now. His neck is on that disc joint that goes up and down, and it will go left and right as well. It is actually on a ball joint because there is wiggle and waggle on here, and unlike some previous figures, older versions that we've looked at of figures from this wave, the older version, this is a ball joint. You can pop the head off, and you can swap the head around if you need to. Like I already said, there is the cowl here. It's not a point of articulation, but it is removable, so that is a nice feature. Moving on down the body, we do have full ab rotation, and we do have, full stomach, waist rotation, and the ab crunch. He can look way down and get pretty far, actually, just that far back. But like I said, it does look like, I don't know what the straight position on him is supposed to be. It does make it end up looking a little weird. He has butterfly joints, which was a rarity back when this figure came out, so that's pretty cool. Arms will turn all the way around and will lift up pretty high, all the way up like that if you need them to. There is rotation at the bicep. We have a double jointed elbow, and then rotation at the wrist in 2 places, full glove cut right here, so that will rotate, and the wrist will rotate as well and move in and out. So like we are probably used to. Going down to the legs, we do have this weird ball joint style of leg where you have to move the whole ball joint in order to move the leg, and mine are really, really stuck. These almost feel like they're going to break. I'm almost afraid to move them, but there we go. They do kick out that much, and I would have to rotate it to the front like this to get it to kick forward. Wow, that is a tight... You can see how not fun it is to move these. Of course, they do have thigh rotation, double jointed knee, so you can get some bend there. We do have boot cut at the boot, so the boot will swivel. Foot will go up and down. He has toe articulation, and he even has some ankle rocker there as well. So all things considered, a lot of articulation. It's just those leg joints really, really inhibit this figure. Moving to our new one, our mini comic version. Here he is. Head is on disc to a ball joint. So the head will go up and down, left and right, all around, and a little bit of wiggle waggle on a ball joint as well, which is now commonplace for Marvel Legends. Pop that back on. He has butterfly joints, and they definitely go a lot further than the old one. They go all the way back and all the way forward. Arms are going to go fully around. Arms will still go up just about as high as that old one, so that's pretty impressive. We do have full bicep rotation, double jointed elbow, which is pinless. While the glove doesn't rotate, the wrist most certainly does, and the wrist will go in and out, as you can see. For the body, we're going to turn at the stomach, and we get ab crunch. Maybe not as far down as the other one, but it works, and it works pretty well. At the legs, we can easily move forward, back a little bit, and out. Full rotation at the thigh, double jointed knee. We do not have any boot cut here, but the feet will go back and forth, and we have ankle rocker. So here's the thing. Just to say it, our old one technically has more articulation than our new version. However, I really have to ask myself which version's articulation is more useful. The ability to move his legs a lot easier than the old one is a nice touch. Yeah, there's glove cut here, but like, what is that glove rotation really adding to things when you can also rotate the wrist, you know? It almost looks a little inhuman if you don't line this up correctly. I'd rather rotate the wrist than the entire glove cut. The boot cut is a nice touch. You know, I really wish that our new one had that boot cut. I'm kind of bummed that it doesn't. But in terms of what's going to have the better articulation, what's probably going to be able to pose better, I really do think it comes down to the leg joints here, which is why I'm going to give our new Dark Wolverine the points for this round. I really do think he just moves a little better and a little easier. As always, my third round is about the accessories that these figures come with. Our first Dark Wolverine figure, he didn't come with anything. What you're looking at right now is what you get. I guess you could say the cowl is an accessory of some sort. You know, it is something that can pop on and off, but it wasn't really marketed as an accessory. It just came packaged with him. Unlike, Marvel Legends that we have now, like I said, there is another version with a fully masked head, but it's not that he came with an additional head. That was a completely different figure. So while I don't have the masked one to show off, it wouldn't really matter. There are no additional accessories. Our new one does come with a few accessories. First and foremost, just to talk about it, you can see the Dark Avengers #1 comic that is the mini comic that this figure comes with. I have mixed feelings about these. Are they neat? I guess. What am I doing with them? I'm sticking them on a display that I 3D printed. So there we go. But that's the first accessory. To bring out Dark Wolverine proper, here is the actual figure. Like I already mentioned, he does come with an interchangeable head. There we go. There's the Dark Wolverine head. And it looks like it could just be a regular Wolverine head. Like this could be Logan and you wouldn't really know. It actually, to me, looks like that House of X Powers of 10 Logan head with that smile on it. I may bring him out for a comparison later on. The other things that he comes with, first off, looking at him now, he does have a hand with 2 claws and a hand with 3 claws. I don't love that. Tell you what, let's go through the other accessories first. First, there is a grip hand for that comic. It can hold stuff. It does have the spots where the claws would come out. So there's one hand option. The other hand option is a right hand with the 3 claws. And as you can see, they are done up in silver. So let me talk about the claws for a moment and why I have different hands with different claws. I actually prefer Daken when he has the 2 claws out. In the original comics with Dark Wolverine, with Daken here, when he fought Wolverine, this 3rd claw was like a surprise claw he used to wound Logan. Wolverine eventually ripped out that claw. Because he has a healing factor, yes, it was able to grow back. But I've always kind of liked the 2 claw look better. On top of that, in the comics, he coated, I think, just the middle claw with the Muramasa blade, which would negate Wolverine's healing factor, with the metal from the Muramasa blade. That can negate Wolverine's healing factor, like I was saying. But Wolverine did rip those claws off, so when they did grow back, they were bone, and they started out as bone claws. I would almost rather prefer that this figure have the bone claws. And what I was wondering was, how good of a color match would it be if I wanted to take these hands out of the old one? And unfortunately, they are just a little too dark. You can see the color comparisons here. It's like, even if I want to pop the claw out now, which I can't do without heating the figure up, so that's not going to be happening on camera at the moment. But even if I wanted to pop them out and switch them, I feel like the color difference would be a little more noticeable than I would like. But I think I really would have rather the bone claws. It kind of bothers me. Now, with all that said, our new one's going to win in terms of accessories. He does have a lot of different options for hands. He's got 2 different heads, and he's got the mini comic compared to the other one who has nothing. Now, if I'm really that upset about it, I could always swap out the other 3-clawed hand and just put in the grip hand. But I want Daken to have his claws out. So I think I'll just do a look with 3 claws, 2 claws, different amounts of claws for my display. But, it's there. If you want to see what he looks like with all 3 on each hand, I'll give you what that looks like. There we go. So now he's got all 3 on each hand. And I feel like these aren't molded very well. So they're kind of bent and they look a little weird in certain spots. But, I liked the look that set him apart from Wolverine. And I thought just the 2 bone claws looked a little better. But that's really just me. So like I said, he does win our 3rd round, our accessory round. So we're going to keep on moving now to our 4th round. Round 4 is about the price and overall availability of these figures. Our old Daken figure, our old Dark Wolverine, it's funny, I looked him up on Action Figure 411, and like I said, there are 2 versions. The masked version sells for about $9. The unmasked version, maybe it was rarer, but it seems to be selling online for close to $47 on average. That surprises me greatly, because this was the one I saw the most in my area. Maybe over the years this one became scarcer. I don't know, but yeah, 47 is a lot. Here's the thing: while you can get the mask one cheaper than our $25 version of the new of Dark Wolverine from the mini comic wave, this comes with an unmasked and a masked head sculpt. You don't need to buy two figures to get it. You're getting more bang for your buck with this one. You have two different looks. You have multiple sets of claws. I feel that this one is just the better value. So as I'm recording this, he is readily available on store shelves. You can probably get him online pretty easy. So yeah, I think our new Dark Wolverine is definitely going to win our price and availability round, just because you get both looks in one figure. You get multiple accessories. Like I said, you can find them now. It just makes more sense to grab this one than to go back and try to grab this one off eBay or something. So my last round is about my display compatibility. Here are the two Dark Wolverine figures, and just to compare it to a Wolverine figure, here it is with the House of X Powers of 10 Wolverine. You can see our new Daken is a little taller than Wolverine, which he should be. He is taller than him in the comics. But both look halfway decent standing next to this Wolverine. This one does look a little skinnier, I'll admit, but I did mention the face sculpts before, and let's focus them. Come on. I don't think these are the same heads. Yeah, they're definitely different. Actually, are they? Looking at them, they might be the same head. I'm not 100% sure. His mask seems to flare out a little more. They might be different. So yeah, his mask is flaring out a little more and definitely fits his body a little better than the other one. But that's what they look like with Wolverine. Here's what they look like with the Cabal 3-pack Iron Patriot figure, the Norman Osborn Iron Patriot figure. And here's what they look like with the Dark Miss Marvel, the evil Moonstone version of Miss Marvel. This is what they all look like together. So comparing that and trying to think what really looks better, I think our new one really does look, he looks the better part. He doesn't look as skinny as my old one. I can definitely pose him a little better. He doesn't look as hunched up. He honestly looks a little more confident, where this one, because of his posture, almost looks like he's, I don't know, nervous to be in the presence of these people. Daken was a little cocky when he joined the Dark Avengers. So I do think that this is definitely the better look for him, whether it be masked or unmasked. So our new Dark Wolverine figure takes round 5. Well, once again, doing a complete clean sweep over the competition, this version of Dark Wolverine wins out. Our new version of Dark Wolverine wins out on this edition of Which Is Better. The mini comic wave has really proven to be a great wave of updates to characters we kind of already have, but characters who needed that update. Like I said, he's not perfect. I really wish he had a set of bone claws, or at least matching hands. 2 sets of 2 claws, 2 sets of 3 claws. I feel like that really would have gone the extra mile, but I like that he has the interchangeable head, and I definitely think he's on a better body, buck overall. So with that said, let me know down in the comments, which Dark Wolverine figure did you like better? I would honestly love to get other versions of Daken in his other costumes. There have been some other great costumes for him that I would really like to get figures of. There was like that really cool, like almost ninja, like blue costume that he had. That would be a great one. He had like wrist wraps on there. I'd really dig that one. But anyway, with all that said, please let me know what you think down in the comments. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you are so inclined. And remember, you can always catch the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast on your preferred podcast platform. It is a weekly podcast that I host with my good friend and co-host Vinny. On it, we talk about all sorts of different aspects of pop culture, and there's bound to be something on there that you'll enjoy. So until next time, hey, that's been the Dark Wolverine. I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.